G'day everyone, welcome to a very hot Life on the Hulls. We've got a hot day out there, and guess where I've been? Oh, in there for around about 6 hours. It's been pretty ordinary. This week I'm going to deal with the forward starboard head area. I'm really going to nail it. I'm going to put in some shelving into a medicine cabinet that's just behind me here, and another big shelf here that's going to form a lot of the structure that's going to hold this module in place. We've got a lot going on at the moment, as you can see. I'll give you a little sneak peek. Oh, don't want to give you too much. There's plenty coming up as we head forward into this build. In fact, the most exciting part of the build so far is just around the corner. A few weeks away, guys, I promise. I'm going to try to get you that demolding video, but I can't show you that until I get the rest of this crap done. But yeah, look at that, mate. Who wants to work in a coffin? Not me. Righto, I've got this brand new compartment here. After a week later, I'm going to lift this module in. Hopefully I'll be able to get it in on my own. It's going to be a bit of an effort to get it there. I've sort of got it in position. I generally need to slide it in over the top, but now that I've got this back bulkhead in here, or sorry, the forward bulkhead over the top of the crush bulkhead there, I'm a bit concerned about getting it in over the top because it will catch as it goes over, but that might actually save the whole thing as I try to manhandle this thing in on my own. It's the lift, but anyway, I'll give it a crack and hopefully won't damage it in the process. All right, wish me luck. It's not going to be that easy, to be honest. So, yeah. Oh, maybe a little bit harder than I thought we were going to be. I'm going to have to get in there. I'm glad this bulkhead's cut down. It's a bloody nutcracker. And onto that bulkhead. Piece of piss! Wow, alright, seriously good fit. That's a perfect fit. Alright, we can now see why I moved that bulkhead forward. I'm going to just move this down here. This here is the wall where the toilet is. This is my space for all my plumbing. And then I've got this other shelf here that is going to form a lot of the support for the crash bulkhead and for my three-way valves, etc. I've got a lot to work out here. I intend, as this here is a medicine cabinet for storing stuff inside the head, I intend to put a shelf system in here, all the way along here, almost to here, so that I have storage all the way back here. So this will be a cupboard storage space, big, long, probably 2 shelves in there, maybe only 1, I don't really know. Probably best to go for 2, and that'll allow for, you know, all of Janet's hair product. Maybe not hair products, but I'm going to actually take a template of this region here and make at least 1 shelf to go in here, so that when we open the door we've got good storage just here. And similarly underneath is going to be a little bit of an awkward storage space because it's a little bit sloped, but I'm going to have to sit down and work out on how I'm going to do all that. Now that I have access behind that head, I'm going to cut an access port through there so that I can start to work out my plumbing in behind this bulkhead. Every time I cut an access panel, I ensure that it's actually smaller than required, just to give me a bit of a feel for the room that I'm going to have behind the head. You can see here those lines on the outside are actually the internal measurements of the access behind the head, and all the plumbing can either be exited out of the back of the head or out of the floor. Now, installing shelves here, I've actually found strips of the H80 foam that I've had left over make great templating material, and it works well with hot glue. It's nice
nice and light and very easily transferable over to the finished substrate. It's easy to work with, easy to cut, and it's really quick.
Okay, that's shelf, partition wall, make it out of foam, glass it in, and then I can slide this thing straight in over the top. And then the medicine cabinet's complete, and then that allows for a large storage area here, which is the washing machine and possibly some shelving in here. I haven't quite decided how I'm going to fit this out, but at least if I get that wall in before I get the deck in here, that's one less job I can do, and it's really, really secure in there. No chance. No chance of getting up, man. Well, we got it out. Young Joel, he came and gave me a lift. I was very fortunate he pulled up because I said, can you give me a quick lift? It only took 2 seconds to try it out, but on my own, impossible. It was just not quite the right position, and I've got a bad knee at the moment, and I don't want to do my back end lifting that stinker in and out, but I've got quite a bit to do in here. So what's going on? This is the shelf that I've just built here. Now this will get glassed in place before I put the module in, and then you'll see this black line around here. It actually has to form a foam shelf for with this this bathroom will actually sit down on and make a large cupboard behind the toilet there. It'll also house our washing machine. So I've got to glass that in, and I've just got to derive the shape of the template, go up and cut some foam, glue it in, and then laminate it in place, and that whole region will be done. Sadly, I've run out of flat sheet that's been laminated so I can make these shelves. So I'm going to have to laminate up a smaller piece of 10mm H80 that I've got laying around, and I'm just going to use this flat bed here over the top of the engine room, which is still peel plied, so I can actually use it as a flat table to lay up. But I'll lay this up quickly, come back from lunch, lay it over, lay up the other side, and then I can make the shelf. It's a bit of a chase your tail at this stage where I'm looking for little remnants and offcuts to make shelving that is going to be used in this bathroom, but the quicker I can get these done, the better. All right, I've got a pretty simple process here. I'm just going to fillet this in with some polyester and some cotton flock, put the fillet in, and I'm going to laminate the whole thing in one hit, get it all done, and then I'm going to start working on this shelf here. The idea is to get all this structure in, test fit the bathroom, work out where I need to do any completion, and then put it in and forget about the bastard.
So a couple of years ago, I fabricated a few parts from the molds that I received when I purchased all the molds, and one of those was the actual head roof lining. It's a gel coat lining, and the nice thing about that is once it's fitted in there, it'll be very easy to wipe moisture down, and a great addition to a head like this is a gel coated roof liner. Now, I thought it would be a very good time to test fit it, and firstly I had to trim all of the flanges off the actual product to make it fit, because it actually fits internally inside the top perimeter of the head module. Now, little do I know that this is going to require some serious modifications later on, and I'm going to cover that in a later episode, as it certainly isn't a perfect fit. In fact, far from it. And I've got a lot to do to actually make this thing work. There's a hatch that sits over this head as well, so very important that I get this right. I've got this lid sort of fitted. I was warned by Derek Appleton, who originally built this boat, that I'd have a bit of a problem here, but I'm not really sure what the problem is, because the bathroom module comes down and the roof lid goes like this, so I fear that this is the shape of the deck. So I may need to be extending this bulkhead up to the top to meet the deck, because I believe that this height you see here is actually the height all the way around for the master cabin. And yeah, it's going to be a little bit of working out once I get the deck hovering in here, because that deck's I'm going to hover it about this high, and I'm going to be able to bring it up and down using jacks and the like to get it to marry with all of these surfaces here. Took an early mark today, 2 o'clock. I went home, went for a paddle with Janet, took the dog for a run down on the beach, but I had a nice paddle. Lexi had a run on the beach, ran away for a while. What are you doing?
Lexi!
Is that good? And go for a swim. Go on, go for a swim. Go. Oh, seagulls, right on. See ya. See you in a couple of days. She's an idiot. She's gone. Chased a few seagulls. She's absolutely bird crazy and just chased them for days, and luckily they headed out to sea. She realised it was futile when she got about 20 metres out and thought, nah, I'm coming back to Dad. So she's come home. It's 5 o'clock. I've just come in because I've got to do this job late in the afternoon or very early in the morning. It's just way too noisy with this oscillating tool I have. I'm going to cut out the cupboard doors on these fiberglass modules. This one here down in the dual companionway, and then out in the port cabin. I'm going to cut out those because I can't work out the shelving sizes behind the one in the port cabin. This one here already has its shelves made in there. I built them in there with a bulkhead, so I've done a lot of the internal fit out that would otherwise be done when the deck gets put in. I'm trying to do as much as I can before I bring that deck in here, because once it's in here, it's going to be closed down, it's going to be close quarters, and then the heat's going to start at the end of next month. We're going to start getting that summer build up, and yeah, the humidity will probably go through the roof. I have got a small air conditioner I intend to run in here when I get it all closed down to try to keep a little bit cooler this summer, because it's going to be pretty unbearable once I get the cap in here. Inside the tent, inside the boat could be, wow, could be bullshit, to be honest. But I'm going to get in and do that. I've been working in under the head as well, working out where some pumps go. So I'm going to get in and do those right now. It's been all fun and games in this very tight little space, but I've derived a couple of templates in here. Simply use strips of MDF, probably a little thicker than I'd like. I find foam really good to work with when it comes to making templates, but I've got some shells established here, and you know, this is a very rough template, but it's a very good way of deriving a template. Simply this shelf down in here, almost on the chine down in there, but essentially I've got two pretty usable spaces now. I do have to allow for a conduit to pass through the bottom of this shelf here to allow access for wiring to get up to the windlass, and once again I'm trying to keep all my electrics above water level wherever I can. The water level is actually below this chine here, so if I can keep all my power above the water line, apart from things like bilge pumps and macerators, I'm in a good place to try to get all the windlass, the navigation lights, and a searchlight up on the front. Anything I need up the front for power needs to basically traverse through this conduit. And then this forward one's pretty much a useless space, but I'm going to turn it into something usable. Now there is a 50 millimeter wide conduit that's going to run underneath this shelf here, right through, and come through here somewhere in this forward bulkhead, which will allow for pipework to go up over the top of this bulkhead, through those bulkheads into the windlass and the navigation lights and the like up in the forward section of the boat here. Alright, these are the weirdest little shelves I think I've ever made. That's just very odd space, and wish I could just leave it void, but gotta need some shelving in there. There's no way we're gonna have this storage capacity and just waste it by not putting shelves in. So I've made a couple of shelves. I've got three. Got one for up the bow here. Look at the shape of it. I mean, it's very odd, but it'll work. And this one here is just a piece of blocking to stop anything going down inside that void between the chamfer panel, the chine and the floor. And then this one here, well, hopefully it's a bit more usable. But anyway, I'm going to just fillet them in, put some glass and glass the tops of them. Then I can remove this module, work out two bulkheads, one that goes here and one that goes here, that'll join to this, that'll give it all structure, and then I can just glass this module in. I can actually glass it to the bulkheads as well, which is really what I'm aiming to do. Let's see how these fit. And this has got to be beveled on the edge to match the chamfer panel. So this one should just fit in here. Check for level. Oh, it's perfect. Check it both ways, perfect. And then this one here has to go down in here. So what I was talking about was putting a bulkhead here. There's no point in having a shelf there, everything falling off the side, going down in there. I'm going to have a wall here that will then engage in with the module itself, similar to what I've done here. So the whole thing is all sanded out then, simply a matter of painting it, fairing it and painting it, all flow coating. I think we'll probably be flow coating the insides of these. And then up in here, I've got this other shelf. This is a pretty simple one. It's a bit ugly, but it'll be just glassed in here. Now that's going to go there because there's no room underneath that to have anywhere else. Considering I need to have one of these up underneath here that'll go through that bulkhead and allow for pipe work and electrics to run forward up to the bow, to the windlass.
got my fillet in, and I'm going to put this pathetic little shelf in. You got to try to put it into the fillet rather than drag the fillet down. That's what I'm finding is the hard part with these little spots. Alright, so I've got my shelves down here that I put in yesterday. I absolutely love this process where I'm able to do the shelves and then lift the mould out, or the module out, and then be able to action the work without the module in place. It makes things a hell of a lot easier. Right, I just got back from the factory. I went up there and scrounged through all of my foam. I've got a ton of offcuts there. I like to use bits and pieces to piece together these bulkheads rather than cutting up big flat sheets, because it is very hard to come by at the moment. Luckily I found a piece that's almost the perfect size. I'll be able to just simply fabricate a bulkhead here reasonably quickly. All I need to do is get my shape jig, work out this shape, and that one's done. Just get it over there, laminate it, whack it in probably tomorrow. Be able to get that one in. And this one here, this guy down here is going to be a lot smaller, so I need virtually bugger all foam to do that piece there. So yeah, I'll get in there. And it is still H80, it's only 10 mil, but because it's not a structural section this and not load bearing, it's simply a tie into the shelves and into the module. I can just put a couple of layers of woven roving on this, laminate it up, and bog it in, basically glass the whole thing to the module, thereby strengthening the module without having to add any additional laminates to the module itself. This is keeping the weight out of this whole boat, guys. The way I'm tying this in, I'm not over laminating. Typically a module like this would be made with a chopper gun, sprayed up with a chopper gun around about 7 or 8 millimeters thick, weigh a ton, put into the boat. That thing's only 4 or 5 mils thick. It's woven, it's a stitch fabric. It's like made of 600 double bias, and a couple of layers of 300 CSM just for the tie layer to the gel coat, and then the rest of the strength and reinforcement is in my shelving, which is all foam core, ultralight stuff, trying to keep all the weight out of this boat. Very, very important.
Still going to go that way. I've spent about an hour just slicing these vertical bulkheads to get this module to fit, and it's still got to go about that far that way, which is the front face of this bulkhead, and it's really giving me the shit.